We're on. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. It's Tuesday, June 10th, 9 a.m. We will call this meeting to order. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
No additions.
And County Council, will you read closed session items?
Yes, gladly, Madam Chair, members of the board. There are no additions. However, I will add just to give as much notice as possible that the backup for item 5O as an Oscar is going to be requested to be swapped out. So there's copies here for the public and they can be requested. And I'll remind the board during the consent item, but there's 3 items for closed session today. The first is under Government Code 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators. The agency designated representatives are Joel Begay, your Assistant County Administrative Officer, Shanika Dixon, the Director of Human Resources, and Sabrina Mendez, the Human Resources Manager. The employee organization is all units, not elected officials, for unrepresented classifications and employees. The other 2 are under existing litigation matters under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1. One case is Trout versus the County of Madera. This is a federal court case listed on the agenda. And the second is an appeal hearing for PERB, post-retirement employment of a county employee, and the administrative hearing case number is also listed on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on these items?
None online.
Seeing none, we will recess into closed session. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. County Council, do we have any reportable actions from closed session?
Madam Chair, there's no reportable action from your closed session. Thank you.
And we will be going back.
Correct. Thank you.
At this time, we will open and close the meeting in memory of anyone wishing to mention someone. Supervisor Poitras.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Like to remember Karen Mitchell. She worked for our district attorney's office for many, many years. When I believe Ernie Lacalci, when he was the DA, he brought Karen to us. Karen's from the San Diego area. She was a lifelong, diehard, never give up Charger fan, as well as a Padres fan. After her days in the district attorney's office, she spent time in other various roles in the community, was a Rotarian, just a great, great Maderan, somebody who adopted Madera as her community, as her home. She left us unexpectedly, and she'll definitely leave a hole in the hearts of all those who knew her. So I'd like to remember Karen. Thank you.
Supervisor Wamhoff.
Yes, I would like to also open and close this meeting. I don't have a name, but we had a young lady that died in a car crash this morning in District 1. And so I don't want to reveal too much, obviously, with next of kin notifications, but if we can just keep her in our thoughts, very, very sad.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. We have Reverend Joe Alicea from Awakened Church of God to provide the invocation, and I'll ask Supervisor Wamhoff to lead us in the pledge.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Always a privilege and a pleasure to be here. Let us read from Psalm 47, verses 8 and 9. God reigns over the nations. God is seated on his holy throne. The nobles of the nation assemble as the people of God, of the people of the God of Abraham. For the King of the earth belongs to God. He is exalted. Father, I thank you, Lord. I thank you for the privilege to be part of this great community. I thank you for this time and what we're going to be doing here today. I pray that you be in the business that we'll discuss today, Lord. I pray for our supervisors, our leaders, our elected officials, our appointed officials. I pray you guide them and lead them, Lord. I pray for the memories of those that we have recalled. Lord, I pray that they be honored by the great things we're doing in this town. It's such a privilege to be part of the county of Madera and the city of Madera and all the great things that you are doing here, because I believe that you are truly seated amongst your people. I thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Do we have any public comment? Yeah, thank you.
So I'm Arturo Martinez here on behalf of the Office of Senator Ana Caballero. She did have legislation that passed during this session to the Assembly. A lot of the legislation, of course, always has that bipartisan support the Senator looks forward to. So I'll be sending that legislation over to you all so y'all can review what legislation the Senators are working for our district. Has to do with affordable housing, getting renewable energy, and making sure we have good paying jobs here in the Valley. Along with that, there are also was an invitation sent, I believe, by Madera Community Hospital. There is a celebration this Thursday. They're opening it. We did have a celebration when we reopened the hospital in March, but this is a one more to get more community engagement. There's going to be a ribbon cutting, and I know that invitation was sent to them. Just trying to make sure if y'all haven't yet RSVP'd with MCH, just trying to put it in your purview. And with that, that's it. But before I forget, I also did bring a certificate because I believe there'll be an honoring today. I didn't see on the agenda, but I did see social media post about it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Arturo. Anyone else?
None online.
None online. I'll close public comment, move on to the next item, which is the consent calendar. All matters listed under consent are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do.
Okay.
I would like to pull item I as an IDA for some questions and some comments.
And then we'll note that item O has a amended backup. And we will be pulling 5U for presentation. So Supervisor Wamhoff, you have the floor.
Our illustrious District Attorney, Sally Moreno, thank you.
Good morning, Supervisor Sally Moreno here to answer your questions.
Great, thank you. So this item, how do they say it in Georgia, Supervisor? Is it stuck in your craw? Is that the proper terminology for a Georgian?
Close enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a contract to get data analytics to
Prove that I'm not racist.
prove that you're not racist
Right.
and your people aren't racist,
That's
right?
correct, yep.
Okay. So is it accurate to say that AB 24, which the reason why we're doing this contract is another unfunded state mandate?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, if you think it sticks in your craw,
Yeah.
you can imagine how my attorneys and I feel about it. It's yeah, the legislature basically offered a presumption that district attorneys are racist and has demanded that we go back through all of our data and prove that we're not. So it's generally, if you talk to a lot of lawyers, and I'm no exception, we went to law school because we weren't that good at math. But the math gets super, thank you. The math gets super intense on these. And just like the super simple analysis, when you look at the Racial Justice Act and analyzing these stats, if you look at the general population, you could say that the population is 12% African American and 40% Hispanic and the rest white. So then if you look at our stats and let's say 42% of our robbery convictions are on Hispanics, you might say, well, that's racist, right? They're 40% of the population and 42% of your convictions. But that misses a lot of things, not the least of which is you have to look at what came into the office, right? Not every Hispanic person in the county came into the office for evaluation. So we only have a limited universe of files that are submitted to us for filing. So if 52% of those were Hispanic, then actually we're underrepresenting. So just by way of saying
less racist.
it's a lot less racist, but okay. Just by way of saying the numbers are very, very complicated, and you know, simple minds like mine and the people that we deal with have a hard time understanding them. That's why we've contracted with Securo, who's a leader in this area in the state. And also we did find the funding. We got some help from our community corrections partnership. So this is not general fund dollars.
Well, I want to talk about that because this is paid for. It's AB 109 funds.
Yes.
Right. Which it's the intended purpose of AB 109 funds was to not pay for data analytics to prove you're not racist. It's to keep our streets safer from our previous governor closing all the prisons and dumping felons into our counties, right? Tens of thousands of them.
Right.
That's what the intended purpose of those funds was.
Yes.
Not to pay for spreadsheets to prove you're not racist.
But it does, I think, keep our streets safer. To be able to prove this will keep inmates in custody who should be in custody.
But due to the AB 254. So do you think it's right that essentially the county is forced into a data analytics contract using public safety funds, not to stop crime,
You know,
just to prove your own innocence?
that's not my area. I enact, or I just enforce the laws. That's what I do. I do vote, and my voting record is there for all to see. And you know, like, to be brutally honest, no, I don't think this is what our funds should be aimed at. But it is a task based on our legislature. And you know, and I go around, Supervisor. I'll tell you, the people in this county elect legislators that don't support this kind of legislation. That's kind of a complicated way to say that, but without getting
Valleycrats.
terrible. Say again?
Valleycrats.
Well, you know, it's not the fault of Maderans. It's not the way Maderans vote. The legislature in its current composition up in Sacramento doesn't represent a lot of Maderans. And that's why we get these kinds of laws that don't reflect your values, my values, and the values of a lot of people. And it is, like I said, I just have to step over how insulting it is to be presumed to be racist.
And I think that's ironic that, you know, this justice system where everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty, this law specifically says you're guilty until you prove you're innocent. Oh, and by the way, you have to foot the bill to prove that.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with you.
So under AB 254, the state of California demands that counties prove our prosecutors aren't racist by collecting and analyzing prosecutorial decisions based on race and ethnicity. Here's the catch. They once again gave us no money to do it. So we have to rob funds from AB 109 that should go to other areas that actually make our community safer, but that's the way it is. So now we're stuck paying $150,000 from the general fund, but from these AB 109 funds that were meant for all these other purposes. That money could be used to house more high-risk offenders, expand reentry programs, get people off of drugs, off the streets, basically just back on track. Give them a hammer and a job. But no, we have to spend it on data analytics. So the entire justice system is built on the principle that you're innocent until proven guilty. But prosecutors now are just treated the opposite way, guilty of racial bias unless the county pays 6 figures to prove otherwise. And who pays for it? We do, the people of the county Madera. So, and this is not to uncover bias, but to confirm the bias that Sacramento already assumes exists. And this is the real problem. It's an ideological problem of our state legislators. And you're right, it doesn't represent the Valley generally. It certainly doesn't represent Madera as a whole, but they believe the system is inherently racist and they want us to pay to prove them right. So we're sacrificing real dollars on things that should be spent in more effective ways on a theory that the justice system is broken and full of racists. And that's sickening. It's sickening that we have this law in the books. And yes, it's $150,000, but that's gross. That's truly what they believe. They just want the data to back it up. They believe that the system is broken and racist. And of course, the county has to foot the bill. It's offensive. I totally agree with you. It's insulting. It's backwards. And every dollar we spend proving we're not the problem is a dollar we're not spending solving real problems. So it's disgusting. We deserve better. Everyone deserves better. There are plenty of other examples of why the state is heading in the wrong direction. 17 years to build a low-speed bullet train that hasn't even laid track yet, right? When Japan has, can build a train 4 times as long in under 3 years and probably not 10x over budget. And half the population of the state wonders why this state is in the trash. And This is a perfect example of disgusting work by the legislators. I know it's only $150,000, but this is a symbol of what we face in California, and it's gross.
I don't disagree, and I can tell you of all the litigation that's happened in the state, and it's been a couple or 3 years worth, and only one case, and that was a particularly egregious and well-documented case of one racist police officer.
It's always the cops, right?
Well, you get your bad apples and we get ours, but so far, no other prosecutors' offices have been found to be racist throughout the state in all of the 58 states where this has been litigated, except that one exceptional case.
Great use of resources. Thank you for indulging me. I know a lot of it was rhetorical, but this is the stuff that pisses me off, and it should piss off everybody. It's
Right.
disgusting.
I don't disagree. The only thing I will say is when I'm out in the community, and I was actually up in Oakhurst at a Rotary meeting this morning, what I tell people is there's a lot of things wrong with this state, but Madera does the best job we can at insulating our people. I know I work closely with our sheriff and our chief and our probation chief and behavioral health, and we do an excellent job here in keeping Madera as safe as we can under the circumstances and making sure that we try not to inflict the consequences of what's going on in our state legislature. We keep Madera as safe as we can, and we do a dang good job of it working together. So this is just one more hurdle, and I get it. It's disgusting and it's gross that we have to do it, but we do it. We step over it and we insulate Madera and we keep Madera safe. That's what we do.
I absolutely agree. We have amazing leaders, public safety leaders like yourself, the sheriff, and others. And I think we do a phenomenal job working within the structure which we have to work. Thank you for listening to my diatribe.
No, it's refreshing to know that we're not alone. I appreciate that. Thank you, Supervisor.
And tell your prosecutors, I'm sorry on behalf of the failed state legislature.
I'll clip this out and put it at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, I agree with my colleague and just wanted to say that it's fundamentally flawed thinking to begin with, because it can't be quantified statistically. Crime statistics do not fit demographic. And so you cannot, it's not something you can quantify statistically. It's impossible. It's an individual thing. And to try to do that is just nuts.
Right. Each individual is a product of their own circumstances and life experiences and choices.
Right.
So it makes it very hard to just dump people into a box based on one immutable characteristic.
Right. Yeah, you'd have to drill down on every case, every prosecutor, and it's impossible to do statistically.
I don't disagree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for your support now, as always. Both.
Supervisor Poitras.
I just have a question. Is this the AB 256 from the 21-22 legislature? This is from a few years ago,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's, but because, I think you mentioned something about our local electeds, a lot of times supporting well, I went back and looked at the votes. Our state senator voted yes on this. So it's somebody who, I don't know why that happened. Our state assemblyman voted no. He's our congressman now, but our state senator voted in favor of this. So just wanted to put that on the record that not always do our local electeds vote like Valleycrats.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Supervisor Wamhop.
Were you talking about Senator Caballero? Because her rep is. Right.
Yeah, I believe that's the one. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Regrettably, I move to approve.
Do you want to?
Madam Chair? Yeah. I was gonna, in your motion, will you add that with the updated item 5.0?
The updated, corrected backup on item 5.0.
And Madam Chair, is item U being pulled from that motion for separate discussion? And
Well, we just wanted to do a presentation. Can we approve it and then present it right up?
yes,
That's what I wanted.
thank you.
And I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please. Supervisor Wamhop, seconded by Supervisor
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 5U is a proclamation proclaiming June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. And I believe we have some folks from social services here. Come on up. Yes. As they're coming up, if you don't mind indulging me for a second, back in 2006, I was an advocate over at Victim Services Center. And my first week as an advocate, my very first case was an elder abuse case. And it was an elderly gentleman who was being financially and physically abused by a family member. And I remember looking at this man and saying, I just want to take you home so I can take care of you myself. And so my mom tells me, oh, Letty, you're not going to be able to do this job. You're going to want to bring everyone home to take care of them. But really, there's some ugly things out there that happen to our elderly population. And so I just want to thank all the agencies and the staff that work with this particular population because there's some real ugly things that happen out there. So come on up and introduce yourself and share whatever you'd like.
Okay, well, thank you, Madam Chair and the board. Usually you guys make proclamation, but you don't want to do that this. Okay, all right. So, well, thank you, and I just want to share that in 2024, Madeira Adult Services received 1,144 referrals. 35% of those referrals were related to some sort of financial abuse, which was relevant to what you just said. And this remains the largest type of abuse for Madeira elders and people with disabilities in this county. So in an effort to slow down financial abuse for this population and for the general public, because it doesn't just affect our elders, but it does affect everyone in general in this growing age of technologies, as you guys are aware. We as APS have collaborated with Madeira Sheriff's Department, Madeira PD, Madeira Chowchilla PD, Tri-County Bank, Noble Bank, as well as our local senior center to educate providers and elders about prevention, protection options, and resources out there so that they don't become a victim. And so we will be holding, and I have some flyers to share with you all. We will be holding 5 community educational sessions starting tomorrow at the Chowchilla Senior Center. And then we will be going to Frank Bergen Center, Madeira Adult Day Health Care Center, the Oakhurst Sierra Center, and the Ranchos, because we value the importance of each of the region in our county. And we know that this is what our community wants. We've heard that over and over through our local plan on aging, and we're bringing it to the community. And so I actually brought 2 of my team here. I don't know if you guys met them. You have probably in the past, but I have John Dufresne, who is our new program manager for APS, and does APS adoptions and IHSS public authority and quality assurance. And I also have Paul Waite. He is overseeing age blind disabled and the IHSS intake ongoing units. Both of these gentlemen have been working in the health services department in this field for over 20 years. And I'm so proud to have them join the team. Before it was me, and now I have 2 people who really is committed to serving this community. And they're actually the ones who kind of put this community training in place so that we can educate our community about the really bad things that are happening, the scams and everything else. So, and I just want to thank them for that. And if they have any comments, they can have a call. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments from my colleague Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for putting together this programming and training that actually goes out into the community, because so often it's easy to hold these trainings and seminars and community events in one central location that doesn't really reach the community as a whole. You might reach a third or maybe half. But I think going out to those individual communities, like you mentioned, even all the way up into Eastern Madera County and the ranchos and those types of things, really makes a big impact. And a lot of those areas already have senior centers built into them. You have a captive audience, if you hit them at the right time. And I think it really is a good thing because, elder abuse comes in many different forms or fashions. It's not typically what most people would think of as elder abuse, which is like an assault or a battery, those types of things. There's many different types of elder abuse, when it comes to financial, and there's so many different facets to look at, and they're a very vulnerable population. And so I think this is very valuable training. And I think this could dovetail into, I'm trying to do not a training, but highlighting services for seniors. And I would like to include this when we're talking about the services that are available to seniors. I think that's an important part of that. So thank you for being proactive on that and making sure you reach the broader community. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, I think a lot of times this area of our population kind of gets forgotten about, and this particular subject isn't really thought about by their kids or by the people around them. And it hits close to home for me because my father was a victim of a scam, of many scams, and we didn't know what was going on, and we were unaware. Lost $1 million in short time, within a few weeks. That's a lot of money to lose, and it really has changed his life in many respects. So it's something you've got to be aware of, and that it's out there, that these people exist, and they are the scum of the earth, in my opinion, to do this to people who've worked their whole life. And it wasn't in Madera County, but it's just, what do? You don't know what to do. And I think this training is good. It's important that it brings awareness. At least somebody might be able to head something off. Thank you.
Do we have any public comment on this item? If
No.
not, I will.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Poythress.
I would appreciate some sensitivity training for my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors. I'm being hazed all the time. So if we could set that up, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
I just said his kids should attend the training. He shouldn't go because he's the intended audience. That's it.
And then I reminded him, next year, he and Supervisor McCauley will be members of the protected class because 40 and over are protected. So yes, and soon on the way to being abused as
And
elders.
they're all headed there too.
Okay, well, thank you. And in all seriousness, because this is a serious matter, we'd like to present you with this proclamation. And if you'd like to join us, Deborah, if you'd like to come up, Sally, whoever, anyone, join us. Okay, we're on to our discussion items, item 6A.
Board of Supervisors Department, District Number 5, discussion and consideration of review and adopt California joint strategies for sustainability, outdoor recreation, and wildfire resilience as published by the California Wildfire and Forest Resilience Task Force in March of 2023 as a guiding document for resource protection, community investment, economic development, and public safety.
I believe Supervisor McCauley is taking the lead on this item.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So nothing too complicated here, just a strategy that really kind of outlines how the county can work with our local stakeholders and partners on developing more outdoor recreation. So 4 key goals. Goal 1, integrate forest health and sustainable outdoor recreation. So encourages local jurisdictions to look at trails and outdoor open spaces as opportunities for fuel breaks, as well as vegetation management or shelter in place sites. Goal 2, advance inclusion and access for all throughout California. So really looking at how we can educate those that are coming to visit our open space and ensure that they're recreating responsibly, whether that's trash or fire. Goal 3 is promote the health and well-being of all Californians through outdoor recreation. And goal 4 is to support economies that enhance sustainable outdoor recreation. So again, this doesn't actually require the county to do anything, but it does acknowledge some of these principles. It also makes the county more competitive when it comes to grant funding. I've had some good discussions with our Connecting Yosemite Communities Coalition up in Eastern County, as well as the Sierra Nevada Conservancy about this strategy, as well as some of the work we're doing up there, and everybody seems to be pretty excited about it. So thank you to the board for taking the opportunity to look this over. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to address those.
Any questions, comments from the board? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
Seeing none, I'll bring it back for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you. Item 6B.
Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division, introduction of an ordinance designating very high fire hazard severity zones as recommended by the Director of California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, waive the first reading and set the second reading for July 1st, 2025.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development. Before you is a map that was delivered to the county by the State Fire Marshal and asking that the county adopt by ordinance this map. And this is coming from California Code 51179. This is the local responsibility map. State responsibility areas is a separate map, but this is the LRA map. I realize in the backup, if you were to have printed it, it's a little bit small. I do have the map, and if you actually look at it on the webpage, it comes directly from the GIS site on CAL FIRE, so you can zoom in on specific areas if needed. So I'm available for any questions on this item. Assistant Chief Justin McComb is also available for any questions if you might have.
Thank you, Jamie. Any question, Supervisor Rogers?
Do you see any implications with this map in insurance?
I do not. As for insurance, I do not. I don't know if Justin has any additional information. Also, in regards to construction, it would not have any
Okay,
impacts to
yeah,
that as well.
that was my second question. Thank you. You're
welcome.
ahead of me up fast. Your thoughts?
Thank you. Justin McComb, Assistant Chief for Madera County Fire and CAL FIRE. Essentially, I agree. I don't see any changes in insurance. Most of the moderate area has been in moderate, so there's no substantive change in the colors. I will say that if you look at the map, we don't have any LRA that's in the high hazard severity zone, which would be a game changer to a lot of our new construction,
Right.
all of that. So most of it, what you see is rangeland in the yellow and the moderate. But But yeah, as far as a countywide perspective of the map, I think it's in our favor of what they've published.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. I actually want to, not to disagree with staff, but actually this does affect our insurance. It positively affects our insurance. So there are two community programs recognized by the Department of Insurance. One is the Firewise Community Program, which this board has been very supportive of. I think we had a presentation about 2-3 weeks ago. We've got approximately, I think, 2,000 homes within Firewise communities, which is a net savings in premiums, approximately $1 million annually. But this actually, the adoption of this map is a requirement for the County of Madera to be on the Fire Safe Community List, which is the other program recognized by the Department of Insurance. So while there's not a direct thread that says, hey, premiums are going to be reduced by 5% if you're on this list. Again, it is recognized by the Department of Insurance. They do require insurance companies to take note of which jurisdictions are on this list. And similar to the joint strategy we just adopted, being on this list makes us more competitive for CAL FIRE funding, which is where a lot of our vegetation management dollars are coming from. So very important for us to be on this list. And big thanks to Jamie and her team for taking this first step to getting us on that list. I believe we'll have an opportunity to apply in April of next year. I mean, we have everything in line. So thank you.
Anyone else? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 6C.
County Council Department, Board of Supervisors Department, District Number 1, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution adopting a new policy governing expenditures from the district fund, Supervisor District Fund.
Thank you. Regina.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Regina Garza, your county counsel. In the 23-24 county budget process, there was an allocation of $10,000 per county district, and a fund created for the supervisors to be able to allocate money for public purposes. And there was a policy attached to that resolution that outlined some expenditures that fell into the policy, and that language tied a lot of those expenditures to county departments or events, and went a little bit beyond the government code, which stands for tax dollars have to be used for a public purpose. Usually that means there's some public benefit that ties to what the county generally does, that can be articulated. And it seems to have been going smoothly. There is a recommended revision to this policy, and both the existing policy and the recommended revision is in the agenda packet. Just briefly to go over what the changes are. One that I just highlighted is to really realign it more towards public purpose and not tie it directly to a county sponsored event or department, rather just to be able to articulate it and submit it to the auditor controller's office with some backup for these expenditures to be paid. One of the other changes is to change the title to call it a district fund and the policy related to it rather than a special discretionary fund, which is outlined in the existing policy, or which was used for the title of the existing policy. And one other proposed addition I would highlight is there is now a suggestion, or it would be in the actual policy, and it's a self-governing policy, right? You're the supervisors. What happens if this doesn't happen? We don't need to go into that much, but as elected officials, you're not employees that can be disciplined like normal employees. There's a whole separate process. But anyhow, within 30 days of that amount being paid, there's a request that you announce that at a public meeting. So maybe during, and this is something for you to discuss if you do want to adopt this amendment, is do we have a separate line item, Madam Chair and members of the board, on the agenda, or is the expectation and the request that you do it during board reports within 30 days? I made an expenditure of 5,000 to support free swimming during the summer for the youth, or whatever that might be. So that's also built into this policy. And then lastly, like any other policy, there are other laws that exist that coincide. Conflicts of interest, for example, or just making sure that any sort of disqualifying conflict of interest or any other, no expenditures ever for campaign purposes. That's not built into here necessarily because those laws exist. And we have to always be mindful of those. So I will pause there. That's just an overview and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, County Council. Do we have any questions, comments from the board? Supervisor? No.
Yeah, I would like to just dovetail off of what you said and maybe just add a couple points, because this fund before had a lot of things that were restrictive and, like you said, tied to county specific events. So like the sheriff's night out or whatever the case is, it had to be for a county event. And that really wasn't the intended purpose of the original policy. But it also said in that same policy that there were those allowable expenses. So it was a little conflicting. And some of the main reasons is for this change is the time length that it took to get approved, because previously it had to go through county council. You approve it, and then it goes to auditor controller, they approve it, and then sometime in the future, they issue a check. It was taking well over a month in some circumstances. So, I worked with Regina on this and streamlined some things, took out Regina's involvement unless there's a question about how the policy gets interpreted. It goes straight to the auditor controller, but as a built-in mechanism for public transparency, that the nature of the expense and the amount of the expense gets reported out by that individual supervisor within 30 days in a public meeting to provide that extra transparency. So I think that's really all I had. And so really the intent, just for the public to know, these are some of the general expenses for what the intent was for this policy. And I'll just touch on a couple of them. So community involvement and public welfare projects. So this includes small scale public street and public sidewalk repairs, removal of public blight, sponsorship of meals and refreshments at public or community events, assist local volunteer projects that benefit the public safety and health benefits. This could include distribution of safety or emergency preparedness materials, countywide district crime prevention neighborhood watch efforts, grants to nonprofits, emergency and responsive use. So those are the types of things. We didn't want to make it so restrictive, but make it, just follow the law as far as what's an acceptable use of public funds, making sure there's a clear public purpose and that we provide transparency to the public for what those funds are being used for.
Correct.
Thank you. Anyone else? Supervisor Rogers.
I have used the fund, and it's, I used it for 2 years in a row. The full amount of what was dedicated to District 2 to the fairgrounds for their parking lots, and needs to be repaved. So we dedicated those funds to that. That's something that wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, and it benefits the entire community. It really helped them to accomplish the purpose. We own those properties as the county. They oversee them, and I appreciate the meaning of this addition to the ordinance. And it should be transparent. And I never really thought about talking about that before, but I appreciate the opportunity to tell people, hey, I've been able to use that and what I used it for. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just add that I appreciate the changes and thank you for taking the lead, Supervisor Wamhoff. I tried to use the fund to purchase jackets for children in need, and that was rejected. So,
There were some differences of opinion on language of the policy, but I think this clears it up.
and I appreciate that. So with that, do we have any public comment?
None online.
I'll bring it back to the board for action.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
thank you. Item 6D.
Sheriff Coroner's Office, tree mortality contracts, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Arbor Works LLC in the amount not to exceed $1 million for tree mortality operations management services for fiscal year 2024 through 2028, and authorize the chair to sign. Discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with South Fork Forest Solutions in the amount not to exceed $1 million for tree mortality operations management services for fiscal year 2024 through 2028, and authorize the chair to sign.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Joseph Wilder from the Sheriff's Office. What is before you today is a master contract between two additional vendors for tree mortality operations. Essentially, the way this works is this is the master contract, so we have it set at $1 million. Some of the firms may get up to that, some of them may not, depending on the project. We bid the projects individually. So every time we come up with a project, we separate that out, bid it to each of the contractors, and try to get the most beneficial price for the county at the time.
Thank you. Do we have any questions, comments from the board?
I have one question, Madam Chair.
Supervisor Wamhoff.
And thank you, Sergeant, for your work. You know, you've been tasked with this type of work because you're good at it, right? So thank you for that. Just for my own curiosity, what does $1 million get in dead tree removal? What's the cost per tree on average?
So
Just curious.
average during the term, so we've been doing this since about 2015, the average tree cost about $250. But the way our price system is structured, it's based on the diameter of the tree. So as we get smaller, the price decreases, and as we get bigger, the price increases. Generally, an average good sized tree, which we call an R4, is usually about $2,000. So it just depends.
Now on mass scale, like these contracts, how does that work out? Say in the private sector, were to bid on something similar.
Not
I mean,
sure.
I know the private sector is probably bidding on this, but is this a competitive rate across all areas?
Yes, the bids will get pretty close when we get the bids. Sometimes they're within dollar amounts of each other. So they get pretty competitive with each other, especially when work is starting to get thin. As we get into the more winter months, work starts to slow down and the prices get a little bit more competitive. So just depends on when and what the season is like.
Thank you. Like I said, I was just curious what $1 million gets you.
It kind of depends. And with the funding, the way it works is we're seeing about, I know it says 80% in your board letter. That is a typo. It's 75% comes back from the state.
Gotcha. And 20,000 trees so far since 2018,
2015, sir.
2015. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just want to offer my gratitude to the Sheriff's Office for all their work on this project. I think you guys do a phenomenal job. Obviously, these trees are going to come down at some point in time anyways, likely into the public right of way or on public infrastructure. So, you know, the cost of removing these trees before they fall obviously is a huge benefit to the public. So thank you for all your work, Sergeant Wilder.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank
Thank you.
you. Item 6E.
Sheriff Coroner's Office, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution ratifying and extending the declaration of a local emergency, beet leafhopper curled top virus.
Good
Okay.
morning, Chairperson and members of the board. Ryan Vidigan, Lieutenant at the Sheriff's Office. Thank you for adding this important item to the agenda today. On June 4th, 2025, Sheriff Tyson Pogue declared a local emergency due to a potential devastating threat to our tomato crops in Madera County. The Madera County tomato crop is the 9th most produced crop, representing $44 million in revenue. On May 29th, 2025, we were notified by the Agricultural Commission of a reported increase of the population of the beet leaf hopper insect in the wildland and agricultural areas of Madera County. Beet leaf insects live on vegetation in the foothills near the valley floor. The insects move to tomato crops in the valley floor when foothill vegetation begins to dry out. The insect carries the curly top virus, which infects the tomato crops, causing crop failure. We are advised the beet leaf hopper insect represents an immediate threat to the tomato crops in Madera County and can be mitigated with immediate action taken on an emergency basis. Surrounding counties have already seen an increase of the beet leaf hoppers, and they have declared local emergencies also, which will help combat the invasive insect. Local emergencies are generally not only a mechanism to potentially bring in funding and resources, but also has opened some options for ways to mitigate the emergency. In this case, we are looking to utilize those open channels to help mitigate the beet leaf hopper insect. With this proclamation, operators and farmers will have the full tools at their disposal to combat this potential disaster. Therefore, I ask you to sign the resolution ratifying and extending the declaration of a local emergency. I'm available to answer any questions, along with the Agricultural Commissioner, Rusty Landsberger, who is here to answer any technical questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Any questions, comments from the board? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
A closed public comment, bring it back for action.
Move to approve.
Second?
Call for the vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez?
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to pending legislation. Give Jay a minute.
Madam Chair, I'm not aware of any pending legislation.
Okay. Jay, do we have any pending legislation?
Sorry, I was just getting my beet leaf hoppers squared away there. None that I'm aware of. There no, if you'd like to give us any update on the senator's budget bills that have passed beyond what was already offered, Arturo?
So in regards to the budget, right now, the Assembly and the Senate released a joint statement. Speaker Pro Tem Mike McGuire and Assembly Speaker Rivas that there is a joint legislative proposal being pushed forward when it comes to the Senate budget. There is still some committee meetings this week that they're looking at. The budget, of course, the due date is June 15, which is on Sunday, which is on Father's Day. But right now they're working with their counterparts to see when the budget will be finalized, but it should be within the coming days.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to supervisor and staff reports. I'll start with Supervisor Rogers.
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, last Friday, I had the pleasure of taking a nice day trip up to Sacramento and back to attend the Wildfire Task Force meeting. There we received updates from a number of different state agencies in regards to Prop 4 funding, early action funding, which has been sent down, help with forest management and vegetation management issues. Happy to see.
Thank you. Supervisor Wamhaugh.
I have a town hall scheduled for June 18th. That is next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. at Stone Creek Elementary School in Riverstone. It's going to be a similar format to what I've done at previous town halls. If you'd like the flyer or be able to share the flyer, I have it on my social media, Supervisor Jordan Wamhoff, and you can share that and get more information if you'd like. So that's June 18th, next Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. And I would like to take this time, since I do have a little bit of platform for whoever's listening. I just wanted to briefly talk about, riots in LA. And, obviously immigration reform is something that is badly needed, but when you have riots, it puts the focus of the movement on what's happening there. And after witnessing what happened in LA, if you're going to burn the American flag while waving the flag of a foreign country, maybe that's the country you should live in. That's all I have to say.
Supervisor Puethers.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Supervisor McCauley for his efforts in regards to wildlife or the forestry and in regards to the maintenance and recovery of our forests and his appointments and different things he's been getting involved in. How shall I say this? You like to see somebody who is doing a great job jumping in the deep end, and we love to see that continue. So,
Right.
just some encouragement. We love you, man, and we love to have you remain as our colleague here on the board. So, just wanted to make that statement publicly. Thank you.
Ditto.
I'll echo those sentiments as well. I'll just quickly report that last Wednesday, I attended the first 5 commission meeting, and I bring it up because we have a few vacancies, specifically in the Chowchilla area and in the Ranchos area. So we will be looking to the supervisors for any recommendations to fill those vacancies. I also, I serve as the treasurer for the California Counties Latino Caucus, and we, our current chair, Supervisor Dawn Leg Ortiz, serves on the CARB board, and she has arranged for members of the caucus to meet with the chair of the CARB board. So I'll be meeting with staff about, the various items that we can bring up for this important meeting coming up. And I believe that is my report. CAO Varney.
Thank you. So Saturday is a number of things. It's Flag Day. There's protests scheduled throughout the country. It's also, I think, the president's birthday, and they're having a military parade in Washington, D.C., which we won't have to worry about here. But there is a number of protests scheduled throughout California. So I guess just travel safely. And then Supervisor McCauley, myself, and Chief Trieber will be attending a meeting in North Fork on the 14th from 2 to 4 to talk with some folks up there about public safety and costs and those kind of things.
Thank you. County Council.
Madam Chair, I know there are still GSA items, but the request that I would make to the board is to allow for the delay of your last item on closed session. And we would ask that get put on the agenda for next week, and we'll take up that conversation. We had a party that can't join us anymore.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Any staff? Not seeing anyone. Okay, we will recess until 1:30 for our GSA meeting items. Thank you very much.
Fastest gavel in the West.
Welcome back, everyone. It's 1:30 and we will get into our GSA items. Item 7A.
Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Consideration of approval of a transfer of appropriations number 24-148 in the amount of $35,633 for Department of Water and Natural Resources, County GSA, interfund revenue to intra-fund revenue for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Stephanie Agneson, Director of Water and Natural Resources. This item before you is typically something that's handled on the consent calendar, but we did bring it to the County GSA Committee and to you on non-consent. We are simply moving money between categories so that the time that county GSA staff spend on drought-related money, time can be paid for with the drought money. So it doesn't add any budget or decrease it. It simply moves money between categories, and it's part of our time tracking for making sure the county GSA staff are paid fairly. Happy to take your questions.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the board? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Warmhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 7B.
Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Consideration of entering into a cost-sharing memorandum of understanding for the Madera Sub-Basin Joint Groundwater Sustainability Plan, 5-year evaluation and amendment, and authorize the chair to sign.
Thank you. Stephanie Agneson again, Water and Natural Resources. So this is a cost-sharing MOU for the GSP work that was a periodic evaluation and amendment. Costs are shared between 4 parties: Madera Irrigation District, the City of Madera, Madera Water District, and the County of Madera as the GSA. This item went to your committee and was recommended for moving to your full board of directors. Costs for each party are around $100,000, and the tasks were tracked individually as well as collectively. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any questions, comments from the board? Any public comment?
None online.
I'll close public comment, bring it back for action.
Approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Warmhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item 7C.
Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Consideration of entering into an amendment to Madera County Contract Number 12532-23 with C&J Ranch LLC for repurposing a total amount of 40 acres and receiving an additional $3,806.39 for additional water savings being achieved in the drought relief portion of the project, and authorize the chair to sign.
Stephanie Agneson, Water and Natural Resources. The next 3 items are all very similar. LandFlex is a Department of Water Resources grant. It pays for water savings both in the present and into the future by essentially buying your transition water. The state recalculated the amount of water saved for each of these 3 projects and additionally rebated the county GSA, and the county GSA is passing that on to landowners. So the first contract is with C&J Ranch. It's a contract amendment, and they're getting an additional $3,800.
Questions, comments from the board? Any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll close public
Move
comment.
approval.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Warmhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. 7D.
Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Consideration of entering into an amendment to contract Madera County Contract Number 12536-23 with Richard V. Lawrence, trustee to the RRR Ranch Trust for repurposing a total area of 5 acres and receiving an additional $1,886.18 for additional water savings being achieved in the drought relief portion of the project, and authorize the chair to sign.
Stephanie and Agneson, Water and Natural Resources. This contract is similar to the last one. It's Land Flex. This is a contract amendment to offer the grower an additional $1,900 based on a different calculation that is more generous to the grower. Happy to answer questions.
Questions, comments from the board? Any public comment on this item?
None online.
Move approval. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
And 7E.
Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Consideration of entering into an amendment to Madera County Contract Number 12535-23 with Kamal Jawad for repurposing a total a total area of 24.55 acres and receiving an additional $3,302.25 for additional water savings being achieved in the drought relief portion of the project, and authorize the chair to sign.
Stephanie and Agneson, Water and Natural Resources. This is the third item for Land Flex contract amendments. In this case, it's for Kamal Jawad for $3,300. Happy to answer questions on this.
Questions from the board? Any public comment on this item?
I'll move for approval.
None
Second.
online.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, Stephanie. That concludes the GSA items, and we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much.